wide world. My name is Marcella Hammer. This program is called Get Your Mind Right. It is a palette production. If you do not know what the palette community is, you should click all over this thing. We are an incredible group of human beings working to level up together in career and in life. And this program is all about how to kind of put yourself first and deal with your own mental health, because look at us. Look at us, especially as entrepreneurs or human beings in business. My guest today is the magnificent Nicole DeSantis. I really am in your fan club. And would you introduce yourself to all of our billions of viewers, right? I feel like Kanye West right now with everyone watching every move that I make. It's very...
You're making me nervous, Marcella, please. I'm blushing.
Oh my gosh. Don't be nervous. We can do this.
No. Well, so hello, everybody. My name is Nicole. I run the platform Nicole Rose blog. It used to previously be called Our Robin's Nest, but I have grown since then and have changed it to Nicole Rose. I started this venture around 2016, right after I had my son. I needed an outlet like any other mother needs when they're a new mom. And it was I turned to social media as an outlet. And it started out as, reviewing products for my son, checking out what's new for moms, things like that. And from there, it has completely flourished to what my platform is today. And I basically inspire creativity for mothers and more. It's not just on mothers, but I mean, anybody can completely check out what I do and do what I do. In a nutshell, I do affordable DIYs, I do affordable recipes, and I find affordable fashion as well as style in your home. And it has become such a great community that I have formed, and I want to become more involved in the community. And that's why I'm so excited to see and meet all of you today, because my main focus right now is to get into the community and really just everybody get on my level. When I was pregnant and after I had my son, I did experience anxiety while pregnant, but then I also experienced postpartum depression after I had my son. Being creative is my outlet. I know it's funny because I feel like it's kind of cliche now. A lot of people say that, and I feel like,
But it's important to remember that it isn't cliche. It may just be universal.
Yes.
And
yes.
That's such a positive, is that maybe we all need to do this.
We do. And I think that's what I'm trying to get the word out now. And there's so many different ways to be creative and let out your stress. Like, I have learned so many different techniques, which has helped me and others, because it's necessary, especially the past 2 years. And I can only imagine what a new mother is feeling like having a baby or being pregnant during a pandemic. I can't even imagine. I can't. So I'm definitely a support. I want to be a support. I am a support for that community, and just to, be there and help you find your creativity, even if you don't think you're creative, because everybody has creativity in them. Everybody
especially does. Women. Back in the olden days, I used to be a painting instructor at Catherine's first business baby that just turned 10 at Painton.
Oh my gosh.
And one of my favorite things to do, especially if there were men in the room with women and women were feeling insecure about their ability to paint, say, listen, there's no man giving birth to anything. All life and all the most creative things of creating human beings comes from women. So what makes you think you can't do that? You got this.
Yes. Yeah. And that's why that's what I want to let women know and beyond. I want everybody to know that there is creativity inside of them. They just got to let it out in some kind of way. And expressive creativity, the best thing about it is that there's no standards.
I think people forget that.
Yes.
We are very cultivated, even in elementary school art classes, to think that there is a right way and a wrong way to do creative work. And one of my favorite lessons to learn as a creative human being, which I can't even help myself, it's just ridiculous, is that often the best art and the most creative ideas are the ones that break the rules that we're all supposed to be following, whatever those are. So I really like your perspective on that. And one of the things that I love about Nicole Rose is, first of all, the Rice Krispie treats recipe with the peeps that you put on the other day that I still haven't been able to stop thinking about. And I did buy the cotton candy peeps, but I ate them. They didn't make it into Rice Krispie.
It's hard. Yes, it is hard.
It's that, you know, and you mentioned it before, is that the recipes, the crafts, the ideas that you come up with, it isn't like take your $200 and go invest a bunch of money in creating this new project or this new craft. You have this accessibility to the ideas and the sparks of inspiration that you provide to your audience.
Yep. Oh, yeah. And time management as well. Everything's going to be super quick because I'm not one to prolong or make it, you know, last like days. Like if I want to do something, I want to do it right now and have it done within, you know, an hour or so or less.
And I think that's so important too, because all of these things that you're providing are the excuses that we make to not do creative work. It takes too long. It's too expensive. I don't know what to do. I'm not creative. I forget the rest of them. It's too expensive. It's also too expensive. And I have no time. And I don't know what to do anyways.
Well, that's why too. And my message always was, you know, and honestly, you know, I am a full-time working mother. In my eyes, every mother is a working mother, whether you are at home doing it, you're working at home, you're working remote, whatever it is, there is really working mother it's so.
It is, because there's paid labor and then there's the unpaid labor that women
the
do,
invisible
whether they're
labor.
A mother or a woman, period.
Exactly.
And that's an important sorry to any men who is like offended by that, but like get real.
Yeah. So, and people always said, they're like, oh my God, how do you do it? You know, you're working and you're doing this and you're doing that. And it's, if you want to do it, you'll do it, you know? And I'm just here to help make you feel like you want to do that. Cause it's such a great accomplishment of, you know, feeling that way at the end of the day, or when you finish and complete something that you never thought you'd be able to do before. Like, it's just such a great feeling.
You know, and something that I feel the need to mention is that your full-time job, you are involved in mental health.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you think that influences the Nicole Rose and the projects that you create and like the voice that you have there?
So much. I mean, the people that I work with and the people that I talk to every day, they inspire me and they don't even realize it. And, you know, I actually spoke to somebody yesterday and they were like, you know, because they were an artist, the person that I was speaking to, and they're an artist. And I was like, you know, I started talking about, you know, I'm like, yeah, you must know art therapy is great to, you know, calm your nerves. And he's like, honestly, he's like, I don't want to hear that, because I know that I have the tools to cope by using my art, but I don't want to hear that right now because I'm going through a really hard time. And like, that really like struck with me. I was like, oh my gosh, like, yeah, like, you know, if you have the tools and you're telling somebody to use it, but you can't do it yourself, you don't want to hear that. So that really stuck with me. And I was like, gosh, so I don't want to shove that down people's throats now, because yes, I do know it's a great technique, but at the same time, you want to be there as a support for the person and not just be like, here, try this. This is going to work. Try this. It may not work for everybody, but at least I want to be that support for you.
I love it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, the people that I talk to daily, they do. They inspire me and they don't even realize it. Even when they're worst of times, they don't even realize it.
And that is such a gift, to have a brain and a level of inspiration in yourself that takes inspiration from others in that way. I absolutely identify with that myself. My dog just started crying. She's like sitting next to me. She wants attention. Goldine, have some dignity. I'm live on the internet. Thank you. And it's so difficult when, like mentioning the person that you said who's an artist, and that's not what they want to use. I look at art therapy and so many other forms of creative work as a healing act or as a de-stress act, as tools in a toolbox. And maybe that is just the tool that person is like, no, that tool is not going to work because it's part of my current stress situation. So that's what I like about what you're doing, is that there are so many different ways to be creative, whether it's spending time with your family, going for a walk with your kids or your adorable dog. But something that I've always done, I paint and I do all kinds of other creative work. But for me, the most impactful thing is that I like to write. And when you go through something difficult, you need to find a place to put it. And we are all kind of doing that right now. For me, it helps to kind of write it down in my padlocked journal that I keep in a safe in a cavern under a mountain with no key. No, I'm kidding. Do you find that for you, the outlet is the art therapy, or is it creating your content?
So I was going to bring that up too. So yes, creating my content always wasn't my source of art therapy. It has turned into that, especially since the pandemic, because when the pandemic started, I started creating more because creative releases stress for me. So I was doing that more. So now my content is a lot of creating DIYs, recipes, things like that. And yes, this, social media definitely has its benefits. And this is one of them where I use it as a creative outlet for me, which is also a stress reliever. So yes, absolutely. But I mean, I have formed all different kinds of art therapy for me. I collage. So when I'm collaging or I am drawing, I'm feeling a different way. I may not be stressed out. I may be feeling depressed. And when I'm feeling depressed, I want to do something else. I don't want to be on my social media. I want to do something by myself. And, it's all different.
I think like part of our journey as human beings is trying to even figure out what these emotions are that we're feeling in the moment, and then figure out what in our toolbox we can go to help with them. And that's why I love that example that you just gave about like sometimes it's the last thing you want to do.
It is. I mean, it resonated with me because it's like, you'll see like, oh, exercising is a stress reliever. Go take a run. And I was like, I am not trying to run. That'll make me cry more.
Oh my gosh. You never know. There may be the time when it's exactly what you want to do. And when that is the time, you find a way to make it happen.
Yes.
And you create the tools to like make it not hurt so much.
Exactly.
What we do. Do you hear from a lot of moms responding to your content? And when, like, I know you do, I'm sure you're communicating with your followers all the time, but do they talk to you about their mental health struggles and like how they're doing right now and how they're coping?
No, but yeah. It's so funny because it feels like everybody in this is in the same boat, but at the same time, everybody feels so alone. So it's really, it's so
that's
weird.
Like freaking human nature right there. We all think that we're the only one who's ever had to live through this. When in reality, we're all doing it together. But at the same time, no one has ever existed with your exact genetics and exact human body. And so it's like this paradox, like,
And honestly, I mean, even some moms because moms will come to me and at the same time they'll be like, how do you do this? How do you do that? That is, but at the same time, they find it relaxing or, just looking at my work or watching me do or make something, just them watching it. They're like, oh, that's so like, so pleasurable to watch, just by watching it, I feel better. So even if you're not, even if you don't want to do it or don't want to try what I'm doing, like just watch it and you'll feel good.
No, I agree with that. There's like this whole world that exists on the internet where we watch these videos that relax us. Some people, I heard that there's like this thing called clean talk on TikTok where people watch TikToks of people cleaning and it relaxes them.
It makes sense. It makes sense. Yeah.
Some people, that's like the deal. That's what's up for them. Some people follow Dr. Pimple Popper and find it very relaxing.
I love Dr. Pimple Popper. And yes, you enjoy what? That's something you enjoy. Yes.
It doesn't necessarily have anything to do with anything other than for whatever reason makes me feel better. I don't know. Some people are like, that's disgusting and wrong. And I'm like, where is the dilated pour of Weiner? And when is
you would agree to this too, Marcella, because we're on the same page. But when you're feeling stressed, don't you listen to some true crime just to, relax?
Sometimes, not really. I find it very relaxing, but when I'm in a stressful moment or situation, I definitely turn to Dr. Pimple Popper. Sometimes this is gross. This is going to gross you out. But there are also videos of people having ingrown toenails removed. It's disgusting. Okay. But it makes me feel so much better that I'm like just so disgusted that it takes me out of whatever I'm feeling. I'm like, oh, it's okay. But I will more often when I need comfort, I'll listen to something like How I Built This, the Guy Raz podcast about founders. Mm-hmm. And any Oprah Super Soul Sunday, I'm like, I feel way better because I just need to be taken out of that mindset. At the same time, I was like falling asleep last night reading a true crime book by one of the men that Mindhunter was based on. And it's like disgusting and it's amazing. It's very, very relaxing. So sometimes the content that soothes you depends on your state of mind in the moment anyways.
Absolutely.
And, but it's a challenge to identify that state of mind. And it's even more of a challenge when you're supporting human lives, like your children, when you have all of these multiple stressors, when you're participating in the news cycle by consuming it. Mm-hmm. And then you don't know where to put everything because you're like,
right. Yeah.
So basically all of the moms need to figure out what makes them feel good. Like listen to that true crime, get yourself to True Crime Club with me. I have to talk about true crime just for one more second here. There is a new series on Netflix called The World's Worst Roommate.
Oh my God. So I'm going to start it. I was told I need to watch like episode 4 or something like that. Did you watch the whole thing?
I watched the whole thing. I was like, man, I thought I was the world's worst roommate. No, I was not. It was not me.
Well, that's good to know.
But there is, and this is like a conversation maybe for another day. Is like, why do women feel better when we listen to true crime podcasts or we watch Dateline? And I mean, I know I have my theory. What's your theory?
I feel like I don't know. I feel like almost it's, like, because it's never happened to me before. Maybe it's more of a fascination. It's never happened. It's worse than what I could ever imagine happening to me or what I've been through.
But is it worse than anything you've ever imagined?
No, I don't. Right. Well, yeah.
And like that is kind of the kicker.
Yeah.
It isn't worse than anything we've ever imagined because, and maybe this is a completely different topic, but as women, we're typically the victims. And we're doing this on Equal Pay Day. I'm going to go out and call it. Today is Equal Pay Day. It is the day in 2022 when women have finally caught up to the earning power of men in 2021. And it's not all women. It's basically like white women. And that's some nonsense.
So, yeah.
And here we are soothing ourselves with true crime, watching things that we have imagined essentially happening to us because we live in a world where there are a lot of predators and we do have to be concerned about our safety. Like, I don't know, 99% of the time.
All right.
And then you've got children coming out of your human body that you have to take care of. And there's news and there's this and there's that. And there's like cultural things that we need to live up to. And it can become overwhelming. And sometimes you just need to make something. Yeah. And in those times, you can go to a budget-friendly, easy-to-do choice from Nicole Rose. And you just make it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's kind of awesome. And really, there is something about like you said before, when you don't want to start a project that's going to take you 2 days, sometimes you just need to do something that has a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Okay. I have one more question for you. If someone who is watching is a business leader or a person in leadership position and has moms specifically on their team that they need to support, is there anywhere they should start, or do you have any advice for them?
And once again, go to find local community. I find that's been so hard. Even 6 years ago when I had my son, it was so hard to find a local community. And yes, it's great to find a community on the internet, but I think trying to find somebody local is pretty important, because you need that bond between an actual person. And I think and that's what's been hard too, because of the pandemic, no one's been able to do that face-to-face interaction. And I think that's extremely important. So that's what I've been trying to do, is trying to get into my community to let moms know that I am here and I can be that support for you. And it's hard to, get out and go somewhere, but I think that's the beauty of having both in this day and age, being able to do it virtually and in person.
And you have some workshops coming up, right?
I do. It's actually starting tomorrow. It's a 3-week workshop. Yes, it's with the Albany Barn and Albany Public Library, and it's in celebration of Women's History Month, which is awesome. And I am doing a collage workshop that is representing the woman that you are. So it's going to be basically like a self-portrait in a collage type of way. So I'm really excited to be doing that. It is virtual. I believe there may be a few seats left. So if you do go to the Albany Public Library webpage and their events, you may be able to secure a seat, but I'm always doing workshops with them, and I love doing it because I do get to meet local moms and their children, because children are always invited as well. And it's great. It's gonna be great.
I'm really excited. And this is not the last workshop you're doing. Like you said, you do these all the time. So if the one that starts tomorrow isn't the right one for someone watching, there will be others. And Nicole, you're just incredible.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for taking the time to chat with me. If you are interested in finding out more about Nicole, she is an icon. The recipe for the Peeps Rice Krispie Treats is on her Instagram. Yes. And remind me of your Instagram handle.
Yeah, it's Nicole Rose Blog, NicoleRose blog. And then also my website is thenicolerose.com.
I love it. And have a beautiful rest of your day. And I have so much true crime stuff to talk to you about. I'll be texting you.
I can't wait. Enjoy the nice weather.